How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
is the end. There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final fight. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
Won't anybody help us? What are we running for? When there's nowhere we can run to anymore. We can't afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. And with the power of conviction, there is no sacrifice. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under, if
streaming?
you're going to do it,
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah, please.
But Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
I watch these streams, and I've been watching a self-professed fascist named Karlyn, who drinks and basically roasts these live streams. But weirdly, she has apparently embedded herself with Antifa before, and so it's such a funny stream because like,
So they tolerate her?
oh no, not anymore. She like, no. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's trolling or not, but on her stream, she's like, I am a fascist.
Right.
So she's proudly proclaiming she's a fascist. I don't know how much of that is trolling, how much of it is real, but conservatives who are drawn to her stream will say things like, these people are funded by George Soros. And it's the funniest thing because she gets so mad. And she's like, get off fucking Fox News. Stop watching that shit. It's all wrong. Do these people look funded? Do these people look like they have money? They're not funded. It's so, and I guess her bigger point is by saying these are funded agitators and not saying what they actually are, which is anti-capitalist revolutionaries, you dilute what's really happening. Because what's really happening, according to her, and I think a fair amount of people, is that the economy is so fucked. The middle class is diminishing so much. The cost of living is so high that this is the perfect soil you need if you wanted communism to grow anywhere.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Oh man, we're only halfway through the week. Really? I want Friday to be here already. I'm ready for May Day. Who's ready for May Day? One in the chat if you are ready for May Day and you want the action to get started. Two in the chat if you're fine with it being Wednesday, I guess. One in the chat if you are ready for May Day. Two in the chat if you're fine with it being Wednesday and not Friday. I'm ready for it to be May Day myself. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen on May Day. I'm really excited to kick off what I do sincerely believe is going to be a summer of protesting. I guess we'll see how bad it gets. I think it's probably going to get worse than most people think, but you know, what do I know? What do I know? I've just been covering this shit for the last 5 fucking years. What do I know? I've just gone undercover with these people more than anyone else that I can think of in the country. And if you know someone who's done it more than me, name a name. Like literally, name a name. What do I know? I've just been reporting on all of the May Day shit since literally last year, perpetually ever since then. What do I know? I was only the first person to start covering anti-ICE organizing back in January of 2025. I could be totally wrong. You know, it does happen. It does happen on occasion that I am wrong. I don't think I am, though. I don't think I am. I think, you know, I don't necessarily think it's going to pop off and be perpetual protesting, but I think we are about to enter into protest season. If it doesn't pop off in May, and I would be surprised if it didn't, to be honest, especially with college graduations, stuff like that. You're going to have demonstrations at graduations and things. There's like the weather's getting warmer. It's getting nicer. But once we get into June, remember, June is Pride Month. So not only are we entering leftist protest season, we also have Pride Month, and there's a lot of stuff. We are going to do another undercover adventure during Pride Month, and that's going to be great. Guys, as you know, if you have been following my work in the community, we are going to be going undercover for May Day 2026. That is on Friday. What do I mean by that? I mean, I have gathered a group of volunteers all over the country. We are going to be going undercover at the May Day protests in our local area to gather the propaganda, identify the groups that are involved, document all this stuff so we can actually start mapping the modern activist left in America. We did this with the No Kings protest. We're doing it again for the May Day protests. I just want to remind everyone that if you want to take part in this, what you need to do is to watch the Infiltrating the Left training. that I did on Monday. So ignore this spy stream. We'll talk about that. We're doing a spy stream later, by the way. That's what this is about. We'll talk about that later, but we are doing a spy stream later tonight at around about the 7:45 Eastern-ish hour, and we're going inside a far-left queer history lecture at a major university, which I'm really looking forward to because I'm working on a book about this stuff. Anyway, so, but like, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about this. Infiltrating the left, how to go undercover at the May Day mass general strike. If you want to go undercover and be a volunteer in my community, you have to watch that training. That training will tell you how to sign up to be a volunteer. If you watch the May Day if you did the No Kings training last time and you don't want to do it again because you think it's the same, you're right, it is the same. And you have to sign up in exactly the same way as the No Kings protest. So if you already did it for the No Kings protest, I need you to do exactly that again. I'm not going to assume you're doing it again. You have to proactively reach out to me in the same way that you reached out for the No Kings protest and just put your name on the list. Let me know what city you're going to. You don't have to reveal any more information than that. And stuff like that. And no, no spamming. No spamming in all caps. Don't do that shit again. We're talking about important stuff here. This is not your time. This is my time. So we are getting together that group of volunteers, guys. It is exactly like the No Kings protest. We are going to document what groups are showing up. We are going to collect their propaganda. We are going to take pictures of their graffiti. We are going to get as much on the ground intelligence as we can about what's going on. Because for me, that is the only accurate news source that exists, is primary source evidence. And so we have a team of people doing this all over the country. We got a fuck ton of stuff for No Kings. I know I still need to make the webpage showing it, but we got a fuck ton of stuff. Reagan has done an excellent job doing the analysis on it and organizing all the information. We're going to get a fuck ton more stuff for the May Day stuff. And it's really getting us started off on a very, very, very strong footing, much stronger than we had last year, about how to map the modern activist left in America in a way that is looking at the groups that are active on the ground and what messaging they're putting forward. So we got a ton of stuff to work with. It's really awesome. And we're going to be continuing that. If you want to participate, again, you have to watch this training and you have to follow the instructions to sign up. That is the Infiltrating the Left training. This is going to play right into a video, so I'll just go here. Infiltrating the Left, how to go undercover at the May Day mass general strike. You can find this on my YouTube channel. You can find it on my Rumble channel. You can find it pinned to the top of my Twitter account. You can find it on my Substack, Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. You have to go to one of those locations and watch the training. The reason I need you to watch the training is my volunteers are doing a very specific thing. We are not going to disrupt. We are not going to cause problems. We are not going to debate. We are not going to provoke in order to create a social media viral video. We are not doing any of that shit. We blend in, we collect information, we get them to tell us what they're doing because they think we are on their side. And that is what we are doing. We are observers of the dystopia. We are not of the dystopia. We are not putting ourselves in the story. That includes me. By the way, the only reason I have to put myself in the story is to promote this type of content and get the word out there to more people. But like, I'm not actually inserting myself into the event. I'm not getting up at a microphone and saying, excuse me, here are all the reasons communism is wrong. I'm not going to leftist events to try to provoke a fight. The best case scenario for me is I go to an event, I collect all the materials I want, I have interesting conversations with leftists, no one figures out who I am, I go the fuck home. And then I show you guys what I collected. That is a win for me. I don't need a viral video of me getting in a fight or me getting assaulted or me getting yelled at and kicked out and harassed as I'm walking down the street, being chased down the street by a fucking black man who stuck a video camera in my face. I don't need that shit. I don't need that shit. I'm not inserting myself into the story, and none of my volunteers are inserting themselves into the story either. We are observers. We are documenters. We need on-the-ground intelligence that is hinged into reality. No one has this shit. There is not a single organization in the country that has the amount of volunteers I have going undercover at these events. And by the way, my volunteers are the best because you guys actually know what to look for. You understand the language. There are conservative organizations that have people going undercover to things, but most of them don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they don't know what they're listening to, and they don't know what to collect. And I know that because I know these people and I've worked with some of them. They don't know shit about shit. They think they know everything. In fact, they know nothing. So, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay? So that is what we're doing. Make sure you check in on that, and that will be awesome. Also, can we talk about Russell Crowe for a second? Can we talk about Russell Crowe for a second? This was the first tweet that I saw when I opened my Twitter today. And it was Russell fucking Crowe saying, I know I'm old and terrible, and I do not mean this applies to the generation of earned tattoos, but these days, all these strange individual random kitty paint tattoo images, WTF. And I was like, Russell Crowe has discovered the queer Marxist left. And Russell Crowe doesn't even know he's discovered the queer Marxist left. And isn't that so adorable? And by the way, Russell Crowe's best movie was The Insider, by the way. There's nothing that even comes close. He was so phenomenal in The Insider. He should have won the Oscar for The Insider. Gladiator was fine, okay, but I feel like they gave him it for Gladiator because he was robbed for The Insider. The Insider, if you've never seen it, is a great movie. Russell Crowe's phenomenal in it. Best movie he ever made. He made a lot of good movies too, and I really like Russell Crowe. He's always been like one of my favorite actors. So I was like really actually happy to see that he's interacted with queer Marxism. That just adds a whole new dimension to this whole thing. But yeah, Insider, best Russell Crowe movie. But what I want to ask you guys is this: do you know the answer to Russell's question? Are you guys smart enough to know the answer to Russell's question? I know the answer to Russell's question. What is it with the random kitty paint tattoos? Does anyone in the chat want to answer Russell Crowe's question? It's ignorant tattoo style. It's ignorant tattoo style. And I have to say, good sir, Russell, good sir, had you been following my work, like exposing and decoding the far left, you would have learned literally years ago, bro. I covered this June 4th, 2024 over on my Substack, over on the podcast that I have too. It used to be called Actively Unwoke, called something different now. It doesn't really matter. What Russell Crowe is talking about is a literal style of queer tattooing. Queer being a far left political ideology. Queer does not have to do with being gay or being trans. You can be gay or trans without being queer. Queer is about being an extreme, radical, queer, Marxist, far leftist that wants to overthrow our whole society. And so one of the things the queers do is they queer normative beauty standards because they believe that those are beauty standards that are created by capitalism to uphold the capitalist system to get people to pay lots of money to look a certain way or have perfect skin or have perfect dress or have a perfect body or whatever it is. And what they're doing is they're trying to queer beauty standards. That's why they have weird haircuts. That's why they do that mullet haircut, the mullet haircut that they do where they have the shaved sides of their heads and the little bangs and the mullet. That's actually considered to be like the staple queer haircut because it's like the ultimate fuck you to capitalist beauty standards is a really weird mullet and stuff like that. But they've also done this with tattooing. And I know this because obviously I've gone undercover with Antifa many times. And I've told you guys, one of the things I always noticed about going undercover with Antifa, because I know a thing or two about tattooing myself, even though my tattoos are beautiful. My tattoos are beautiful. Their tattoos are not beautiful. But I always noticed that they all had a very similar style of tattoo. And I was like, what is this? What is even going on? They had all this weird stuff all over their arms and it was like random stuff and they were usually really poorly done tattoos. And so I became interested in this. I'm like, what are they doing with tattoos? What is this? And I felt like I've been around tattoo culture long enough. I mean, I dated a guy back when I was very, very young that got me very into it. And I feel like I should have heard of this, but I just never did. And then eventually, and we got to give Nick credit for this because Nick was the one who found this. We finally, at long last, found a queer article explaining WTF are those stupid tattoos. And it is actually a style of tattoo called ignorant tattoo styles. And they are a symbol of queer defiance, a defiant and transgressive act against the status quo. Crude DIY tattoos have taken up in the queer community as a proud symbol of their outsider status. No, we don't do this low IQ shit. No low IQ retardation here. This is not a mental disorder at all in any way. Take it seriously or literally get the fuck out. Anyway, so to answer Russell Crowe's very good and very observant question, sir, here is your answer. You ran into the queer Marxist, Russell. You ran into the communists. And I just want to suggest, listen, I haven't watched the movie Romper Stomper in a long time. And obviously we disavow Hitler, and Hitler was the worst person that ever lived, and the Holocaust absolutely happened exactly like they taught at schools. No less than 10 million Jews died in the Holocaust, not a single Jew less. And if you say a single Jew less than 10 million Jews died in the Holocaust, you are a rabid anti-Semite, and you should be deplatformed and debaked, sir. Hitler is burning in hell as the worst person who ever lived. Gas chambers have wooden doors. All that stuff. We are not avowing Hitler. I'm just saying I haven't seen the movie Romper Stomper in a really long time, and Russell Crowe was really hot in that movie. And maybe it's time that I go back and revisit Romper Stomper with, maybe a fresh set of eyes, given all of the things that have occurred between Israel and the Palestinians since October 7th. I'm just saying, listen, I'm sure it's still a horrible movie, and Russell Crowe was still a hateful neo-Nazi, the worst person that ever lived, next to Hitler, of course. I'm sure that's all still true, and we will come out feeling deeply sorry for all Jewish people, and we will want to continue to send all of our money to Israel so that they can go and kill everyone in the Middle East for no good reason other than they want to expand their land in the Middle East, and they are using the United States to do so, and Trump is a massive cuck that is allowing them to do it. But I'm just saying maybe we should have a viewing of Romper Stomper in honor of Russell Crowe's discovery of the queers, because as you know, there is but a few instances where communism has actually been turned back in the course of history. And sadly, and obviously, again, we don't avow Hitler. Hitler totally disavowed, worst person that ever lived. But just factually speaking, Hitler defeated the communists in Germany after they Weimar Republic that shit, and they made everything about gender and queer and all that crazy stuff. And all those books that were burned were actually queer books. They were about all this crazy stuff that now is, commonplace, so much so that it has its own tattoo style. I'm just saying, listen, not everyone can get everything wrong. Even the worst person in the world maybe did some things right, but then he made so many mistakes that he is still the worst person in the world. But I'm just saying, maybe I'm just saying that there's one guy that's actually defeated communism in the history of the world, and even though mistakes were subsequently made, maybe we should watch Romper Stomper again. That's all I'm saying. Hope that helped, Russell. Thank you for exposing the queers. We appreciate you, bro. You got a great watch collection. I've seen you talking about it on IG. You rule. Okay. Speaking of Romper Stomper, can we talk about the king, Nick Fuentes, for a moment? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about the fact that the ring footage from Nick Fuentes' door has now been released, where he beat the shit out of a progressive woman? This is I could just watch this all day. I really could. Young Nicholas, the king, just this progressive bitch comes up to his door to harass him. He opens it, pepper sprays her, and shoves her down the wall. And then grabs her phone and then takes it into the house to stomp on it. Couldn't you just watch this all day? Should we just have this on repeat? Should we just have this? And by the way, now the woman got him arrested. He had that great mugshot, and now the case against him has been dismissed. So Nick is free. Nick won. Case dismissed. And now we get to see the ring cam footage of Nick Fuentes shoving that dumb bitch down a sidewalk. Don't go to people's houses, guys. Don't go to people's houses. Just because you see someone on the internet doesn't mean you should go to their house. And I'll tell you, man, I have guns. I have guns. Nick has guns too. I know Nick has guns for sure. but like that bitch, like getting maced and getting shoved down the sidewalk when she is going to someone's home to harass him after. And remember, this was as he was being mobbed on the internet for that tweet that everyone hated. This was around the same time where he literally had someone show up at his house with a crossbow to try to kill him. Like, I think we can all understand why this happened, and that dumb bitch got what she deserved. And Nick is the king of the internet because he is that nigga. He is that nigga, y'all. All right. With our intro out of the way, we are going to be doing some serious content today, guys. I want to continue with our theme for this week, which is talking about May Day, because as of course, we are going undercover at the May Day protests on Friday, and so we want to be as prepared as we can. Now, I wanted to try to find a video of some communists talking about May Day so we can get the leftist perspective on why this day is so important for them and the involvement of the unions and what they think and all that stuff. And I found something called Resistance Radio with like 9 views on it. You guys know that I love finding shit on the internet that only has like 3 views. I love this shit. This is the stuff where they really say the quiet part out loud because there's been no repercussion for them. They're just talking to a few people on the internet. And people on our side, if something doesn't have 1 million views, they think it's not worthwhile. And I'm like, no. You want the lower viewed content from content creators that are getting no attention outside of their echo chamber. This is what you want because this is where they say all the quiet shit out loud. Because they haven't yet learned that when you post content publicly on the internet, people will listen to that content, and sometimes those people are just not on your team. So I love finding shit like this. We're going to listen to these guys talk about May Day, and that's going to be something that we're going to do. Welcome, Leo. We appreciate you being here, first timer. But we're going to take a little bit of a point of personal privilege. I'm just curious about something. I'm curious about something. And this might take 15 minutes to do. This might take half an hour to do. I might have so much to say about this. We spend the first full hour of the show on this, okay? I would like to know how the Moms for Liberty are talking to their conservative audiences about May Day. Yeah. This is real. Yep. It was streamed to the Moms for Liberty YouTube channel 1 day ago. It only has 103 views on the Moms for Liberty channel. But you know what? We don't care about that because this is still the talking points that the Moms for Liberty are using. This represents the Moms for Liberty perspective. And whether we like it or not, the Moms for Liberty is a huge organization that is massively funded and is very, very, very influential on the conservative right, whether we like them or not. And I'm going to say not. I have been anti-Moms for Liberty since 2021 when they started the book banning bullshit. I spoke out immediately against the Moms for Liberty as soon as they started that book banning shit. And I said, here's what's going to happen now. You're going to fuck everything up. And lo and behold, I was right. The book banning bullshit was the downfall of Moms for Liberty. The book banning bullshit caused so many fucking problems. The book banning bullshit accomplished nothing, by the way. It accomplished nothing. You guys know there's more queer and gender books in libraries than ever, right? Like, you guys think you got all the queer and gender books out of the libraries? Oh, no. Oh, no, sweetheart. They've already replaced all the books you guys got out of libraries. And by the way, they didn't even get that many books out of libraries because it takes fucking months to process those requests. And in that time, the left can just churn out more and more books. It was going to be a failed endeavor from the very start, but the Moms for Liberty raised tens of millions of dollars telling people that they were going to save your little darlings from the far left that was going to trans them by getting the books out of the libraries. And that was a lie. That was never going to happen. It was a stupid strategy. It galvanized the left. It was one of the main rallying cries on the left for like fucking years was the Moms for Liberty. And I think the Moms for Liberty are dumb, and it was a huge waste of money and a huge waste of positioning. And listen, I just want to do a check-in because we listen to people. We listen to people that we disagree with, and we listen to what they have to say. I am personally very, very curious. I have not listened to a Moms for Liberty video or podcast or whatever in years. I am very curious. How is the Moms for Liberty talking about May Day? Now, we all know that they just found out about it because they don't actually really pay attention to what's going on. They only pay attention to what goes viral on Twitter. But one in the chat if you're curious how the Moms for Liberty is talking about this to their conservative audiences and what conservative audiences are thinking about this. 2 in the chat if you think this is dumb and you just want to go right to the communism. 1 in the chat if you're curious about what is the conservative perspective on all of this. 2 in the chat if you want to skip it and go right to the communism. Yeah, we're a little curious. And I think this is going to be really important for people to hear because you guys are about to understand how good you have it on this channel. You guys are about to understand how much more you know than the average conservative. You guys are about to understand the difference between what right-wing media does and the right-wing establishment does and what we do. You guys are all about to feel so smart and so morally superior to all of these people and intellectually superior for that matter as well. I want everyone by the end of this, I want everyone in this community to feel like, you know that meme with the vampires where they're all looking down on the humans and they're just like, that's us. That's us. That's us. And Moms for Liberty are the ants that they're looking down on. And I think that's going to become quite clear as we listen to this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. If you don't want to do this, if you just want to watch the communism, hey, check back in like half an hour. Okay? Check back in half an hour. We are going to do the communism. That's going to be the second part of this. But I want to get a little taste. I want to get a little taste of what the Moms for Liberty is saying. And I might decide to not watch very much of this. I might decide to only watch a couple minutes. I might decide to watch 10 minutes. I might just, we're going to have to see how it goes. Okay? But we will get to the communism. And then later today, we are doing a spy stream. So as a reminder, guys, if you want to come to spy stream, you do have to be a supporter on the channel, whether that be a channel member or a Substack supporter or any of that. If you want to ingratiate yourself to the community and thank me for doing all this stuff, please feel free to donate some channel memberships to the chat. That would be fucking awesome if we got some channel memberships today. But that's up to you guys. I am 100% funded by you. I can't do this stuff without you. So if you want to throw in and show your appreciation, please donate some channel memberships. That way we can get more people into Spy Stream when we do it in a couple hours. All right. Let's go back to the MILFs and let's get this party started. Oh, gotta set up my sound. All right. Professional streamer never sets my sound up right. Okay, there we go. Very dramatic. How about we fast forward?
Officially Guys, Andrea here from the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, officially inviting you to our Celebrate May Day social and program being held on Friday, May 1st at Villa Arco, right here in Milwaukee, at 804 West Greenfield Avenue, starting at 6 p.m.
Starting off strong.
Join the Freedom Road for food and refreshments while we discuss international solidarity of the working class and our strategy for revolution. You're not going to want to miss out on this. Make sure you mark your calendars for May Day, and I'll see you all there. Solidarity.
Solidarity, comrade.
Day, May 1st, on May Day, across the country, we are saying no business as usual. No work, no school, no shopping. We need to match the depth of the organizing that we've seen here in Minnesota with the breadth of the organizing we're seeing all over the world for No Kings 3. So what does that mean? Let's get specific. I want everybody here to put this on your calendar. The next major national action of this movement is not just going to be another protest. It is a tactical escalation. An escalation. It is an economic show of force inspired by Minnesota's own Day of Truth and Action. We all saw this. Thousands of teachers and nurses, community leaders, faith leaders showing up in sub-zero temperatures, showing this state that they were not going to put up with business as usual while a secret police goon squad was murdering Americans in the streets. We need to do that nationally, y'all. We need to do that all over the country. So on May 1st, on May Day, across the country, we are saying no business as usual. No work, no school, no shopping. We're going to show up and say we're putting workers over billionaires and kings. Minnesota, we cannot thank you enough for the courage you've displayed, for the instruction you have given. We are going to build on that courage, on that sacrifice, on that dedication, on that organizing. We are going to demonstrate that regular people are the single greatest threat to fascism in this country. It's up to all of us to walk that path. So say it with me as we heard from Rob.
And I'm a teacher in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm also a proud member of our union, MTI, and the Madison branch of Socialist Alternative. On April 21st, union reps from nearly every school in the district voted overwhelmingly to join the nationwide call for no work, no school, no shopping on May 1st. In addition to teachers...
That's the MILF for Liberty right there. That's looking really nasty and pissed off.
Joining that movement.
This is what conservatives do on reaction videos. They're just like
our high school students shutting down 3 major streets across the city. And we are taking inspiration from our fellow educators in North Carolina, where, like Wisconsin, striking is illegal. But North Carolina, the union NCAE is busing in educators from across the state to join their rally at the Capitol. In Madison, this is going to be the most widespread and organized action since the Battle of Wisconsin in Act 10. And for this movement, after months of organizing in our schools, the pressure from below forced the district to cancel classes on May 1st here as well. And in Wisconsin, we are demanding our state to protect our immigrant workers, students, and families from fear of ICE, in addition to fully funding
fear
our
of ICE.
May Day 2026 has the potential to be the strongest possible rebuke so far to Trump's anti-immigrant warmongering agenda because of the actual disruption to profits and halting business as usual. From work stoppages...
By the way, I just want to mention, this lady used to follow me on Twitter. She's a massive fucking Zionist. She never shared any of my content. She just stole shit and pretended she found it.
In shutting down major streets across Madison. I'm excited that this city, the teachers and the workers are going to be a part of this historic nationwide day of action. In addition to the Madison Teachers Union being a part of this, though, more teachers unions should take up this call to join the day of action, in addition to other unions as well, in heavy battalion industries like logistics and transportation too. And it's not too late to start organizing your workplace. Reach out to Socialist Alternative if you have questions or need help getting started.
Maybe
But I hope to see you up there on May Day.
Maybe I'll do the red ones. You guys like the red ones.
The First Wisconsin School District announced that it's going to shut its doors on Friday, May 1st, in recognition of May Day, the May Day Strong national protest. According to organizers, the point of this May Day protest is a day of no work, no school, no business, no shopping. Organizers call it a day of disruption. It is a general strike against President Trump, his administration, and capitalism. According to the Madison School District.
Has the Hallelujah chorus started singing down from the sky? The clouds have parted. The sun is shining through. I can hear the choir of fucking angels in the background. Okay. For people who have just joined the community recently, you may not understand this. You may not understand this. And I know she doesn't know how to define capitalism, but hang on. I know she doesn't know what the fuck capitalism means, and that's probably going to become clear, but like, hang on a second. Do you understand that for the first 3 years that I was covering the far left, every time I said the left is trying to abolish capitalism, they're trying to abolish capitalism, whiteness means capitalism, gender is about capitalism, etc., 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 etc. I was trying to get the right to acknowledge the core of the problem, which was capitalism. You guys don't understand how many conservatives told me the left never even talks about capitalism, Karlyn. The left doesn't even talk about capitalism. Yeah, James wouldn't even say the word capitalism. James Lindsay refused for years and years and years to say the word capitalism. That's why we had the Say Capitalism meme where I'm dressed up as a dominatrix, putting my foot on James's back and demanding he finally, at long last, say the word capitalism, because he literally would not do it. They would not say the word capitalism. So I'm going to be honest. The fact that this Moms for Liberty bitch, who obviously doesn't know what she's talking about, but you know what? We give credit where credit is due. The fact that she used the word capitalism, I'm sorry, guys. That's us. That's us. That is the impact that we have had on this discussion. People can say Karlyn's not relevant all they fucking want. The proof is in the pudding. For years and years and years, conservatives refused to acknowledge it was about capitalism. They refused to say the word capitalism. Every time we were out there screaming about this, they said, the left doesn't even talk about capitalism. What are you talking about? We just kept hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering and hammering. There was no one who was talking about the capitalism bit of it, guys. And I know that seems weird because you think, of course, socialists want to overthrow capitalism. You don't understand. This is literally, they made fun of us for this. They were mocking me for this. They were making fun. Karlyn is obsessed with capitalism. They were doing all this shit. But the needle finally fucking moved. And I'm going to say, if we hadn't been out there hammering on this issue every which way from Sunday for literally years, there's no way the needle would have moved, guys. There's no way. So don't fucking tell me that what I do is irrelevant. Don't tell me my community is irrelevant. We are small, but we are mighty. We are a niche, exclusive community that doesn't shut the fuck up. And whether these people like it or not, we can go viral for this shit anytime we want. And if you keep hammering on something and you go viral often enough, people start listening. They may not come to every stream, but they come to enough to get the basic maison set. They may not see every fucking video, but they see the important ones here or there. We did that. We did that. There is no ignoring it any fucking more. No more sticking your heads in the sand, conservatives.
Disruption. It is a general strike against President Trump, his administration, and capitalism. According to the Madison School District website, 70% of staff signatures supported in a participation in a day without immigrants as part of showing solidarity with the May Day Strong National Day of Action. The demands of the teachers and school staff that are striking are to get ICE out of Wisconsin and nationally to abolish ICE. Also, citizenship for all, completely open borders, and a more just and fair economy, aka communism. Toolkits are provided for teachers to share with students who should join them on the streets and protesting instead of being in their classroom learning.
Looks good.
I think it's quieted down a little bit. Corey, I'm so glad that you could join me today because there's a lot going on. This has been a crazy week. every time I think it's going to slow down a little bit, something.
I don't know why the Moms for Liberty is streaming in the vertical. It makes no sense at all, considering she's like, it's horizontal, but it's also vertical. But this is Moms for Liberty technology, guys.
Happens that on Tuesday night, there was a huge announcement. There was a press conference with the Department of Justice and the FBI where it was announced that SPLC was indicted by a federal grand jury with 11 counts of
Don't care.
fraud
Talk
and all
about
sorts
the
of
May Day
things.
protest.
I was not surprised. I know you were not surprised. A lot of people apparently were surprised.
Oh,
Before
this is
we
Corey
start to talk about May
DeAngelis.
Day, what
Okay,
are your thoughts
let's see what
about
Corey
the
has to say.
announcement? SPLC, I know you were on their hate map along with us.
I think you guys were on the
2023.
I think you guys were on the hate map. You guys made it official. Mine, I was in an email blast or something. I'm still on their website on their hate watch as a far-right commentator, listed alongside Tim Pool and Jordan Peterson and a bunch of others as well. At the time, I said this was a badge of honor. If you're catching flack, you're over the target. I think we were on the right course from the beginning. Now we're finding
I don't care about this. I want to hear you talk about May Day.
An organized school and but for their
Oh, here's he is talking about May Day. Okay, never mind.
Co-founded an organization alongside the teachers union called Public Funds Public Schools. And you know that's an anti-school choice organization, and that's why I ended up on their hate watch. Maybe that's why you guys were all on their hate map as well, because we're supporters of parental rights in education. The teachers unions are not, and they've locked arms with the Southern Poverty Law Center, who's deep trouble this week. And I'm interested to see how these May Day protests unfold next week, but I did just receive an email from the Chicago Teachers Union. They're basically ground zero for stepping on rakes and really making a fool of themselves. They haven't removed me from their email list yet.
I don't pay attention to what Rufo does. Rufo, like, you want to talk about someone who's irrelevant? Rufo, to me, is completely irrelevant. I don't even know what he's doing anymore. Did he say anything interesting?
I don't know why they haven't done that yet, but I got their curriculum and exposed them on X yesterday, and it is a real doozy.
It's crazy. I do have to say I was also
it's a real
on
doozy,
their
y'all.
March Madness. Every year they had a March Sadness, and I unfortunately never won. I was never in the top bracket, but I was in the running for the biggest grifter. I was honored to be alongside Jennifer Say. Beat me out.
That's good company. So you're on the right
we can
list.
Laugh or we'll cry, because the things we have been talking about in some other podcasts, what they put me through and many other parents is shocking. It's appalling, and I definitely want justice. So I'm looking forward to learning more about these indictments, and I appreciate the fact that the Trump administration, the Department of Justice, the FBI, that they are continuing to investigate this absolutely fraudulent group, the Southern Poverty SPLC.
Okay, talk about May Day.
What they've done, where they now, I'm not surprised. We need
the password protected Chicago. They're probably pushing that teachers union. I thought it was going to be locked behind a password protected sheet. If they were smart, they would do that. But I got in with my personal email address, and they're circulating this curriculum to teachers, certainly in Chicago, but they're probably pushing it out further as well. But they're indoctrinating kids by having these slideshows calling President Trump a fascist. They have a slide that says, what is fascism? And they create all these bullet points of things that Trump has done. They're trying to create parallels and label our duly elected president of the United States as a fascist. It goes back to the NEA's resolutions from last year, where they passed one in Portland, Oregon, to spend tons of money to label President Trump as a fascist. They misspelled the word fascism that time in their resolution. They didn't this time. I was pretty surprised they were able to get the spelling right this time. But they, it's like guiding questions in one of them. I'm just reading it from my phone. It says, what lines have been crossed by President Trump? What can or should be done to stop him? So they're mobilizing the troops.
They don't understand the significance of any of the language. They don't. And listen, man, Corey DeAngelis is a nice enough guy. I will tell you, I've sent Corey DeAngelis a lot of stuff on the teachers' unions that he hasn't shared because it's more about being in the right club than it is actually going after and attacking the teachers' unions in any real way. Corey DeAngelis would be out of a job if he actually got the teachers' unions abolished. So I don't believe he's on the full up and up there. He is a nice enough guy. But do I believe that do I believe he's anything more than a mouthpiece? No.
Trying to get kids at a young age brainwashed to not like conservatives, certainly not like President Trump. And in another slide, they actually compared slavery to abolishing the police, ICE, and
guys, did you know that the left compares slavery to abolishing the police, ICE, and prisons? Did you guys? Wow. Wow. Corey DeAngelis has discovered that the teachers are teaching that abolishing slavery is exactly like abolishing the police, ICE, and prisons. No way. No way. Wow. See, I told you guys watching this was going to make you feel smart. I told you guys. Yeah, do we think they know what slavery has to do with the police? Let's just watch the rest of this and let's see if they understand what they're talking about.
certainly not like President Trump. And in another slide, they actually compared slavery to abolishing the police, ICE, and prisons. So they're trying to make equivalences here and saying that, well, if support abolishing slavery because that's really bad, we also must then support abolishing the police. I thought they were done with this rhetoric of defunding the police, but they're even going further with the union saying we shouldn't have police at all. We shouldn't have prisons at all. People should just be able to run the streets, break crimes, commit crimes, break the law, and hurt people. And I thought that was nuts. And they took it a step further, Scarlett. They also had a slide where they're instructing teachers and students to go and call their senators to go lobby the legislature.
Okay. We have to go back. Okay. Let's see if my chat is smarter than one of the top conservative political analysts and pundits in the country. Corey DeAngelis is way, way, way up there. He is very well known. He's very well connected. He works with all the most famous conservative institutions. Everyone ready to play a game? And again, I think Corey DeAngelis is a nice guy, but Corey, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. No offense, bro. You're a nice guy. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Is my chat smarter than Corey DeAngelis? We should have some game show music going right now. Just think about game show music in your head. Pop quiz for my chat. What does abolishing slavery have to do with abolishing police, ICE, and prisons? The laws are protecting the capitalist class. Police are the managers of private property created to manage slaves and oppress them. That's not the answer I'm looking for. The left believes the police as it is today is descended from slave catchers. True. Anyone else want to answer? Capitalism creates all crimes. True. That is true. Police are the enforcers of capitalism. They were the original slave catchers. The police were created as slave catchers. Remember, slavery as an institution is about private property ownership. The left's definition of capitalism is private property ownership. Slavery was about the ownership of people as private property. The ownership class was called white, or people who did not work in the sun. They were the owners, the bosses, the oppressors. Slaves were called black as a class because they were the owned, the proletariat. The label was meant to distinguish them from the white property owners who owned the slaves. If a black person owned slaves, they were still white, which we know because Cheryl Harris said it in her speech at UCLA Law School. Black people, when they become property owners, become white. We know this because Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy, because when the left says whiteness, they don't mean skin color. They mean the owners. They mean capitalism. Slavery was the ultimate capitalist institution. The police are descendants from slavery. They believe the modern day police was created from slave catchers being the enforcers of private property ownership. Today, they believe the police are the protectors of the capitalist class. That's why they want to abolish the police and abolish prisons. And I don't know what the fuck Corey DeAngelis is talking about when he says, I didn't think they were doing this anymore. Police abolition, prison abolition is one of the number one talking points on the left. It is one of the number one things they write books about. It is one of the number one things they give speeches about. They have classes about. Literally, when the left says abolition, most of the time they are talking about the specific abolition of the police and the abolition of prisons. The left is never giving up this issue. It is never happening. That is at the core of what they believe. They cannot overthrow the capitalist system without abolishing the police. So now what about ICE, guys? What does ICE have to do with any of this? And you guys already know the police were the first slave catchers. Police uphold capitalism. You got the police part down. Now I want you to answer the second part of the question. Let's see if you're all smarter than Corey DeAngelis. What does ICE have to do with this? What does ICE have to do with this entire thing? Why are ICE similar to slavery? Why are ICE similar to the police? Do you guys know? ICE enforces the borders. You need borders to have private property. ICE enforces the borders. Just like the police are the protectors of private property for the capitalist class, what do you need to have private property? You need a border. ICE are the enforcers of the borders. Therefore, to the left, ICE is no different than the police. They are no different. When they say ICE, they also mean the police. When they say the police, they also mean ICE. They also mean the military-industrial complex. They also mean DHS. They also mean all those things. That, Corey, is what is going on. That is why abolishing slavery to the left is no different than abolishing the police, abolishing prisons, abolishing ICE, because slavery was an institution created by capitalism via private property ownership of people. The police are the enforcers of that private property ownership, descended from the original slave catchers. Obviously, they use the prisons to enforce that and to lock up the people who are rebelling against their capitalist oppressors. And ICE are the enforcers of the border, which is another manifestation of capitalism via private property ownership, because you cannot have borders in the communist utopia. Borders are a manifestation of capitalism. That is what you need to have private property. Congratulations, my friends. You are all smarter than Corey DeAngelis. And Corey, listen, you're a really nice guy, bro. I'm not trying to shit on you. I actually like you as a person. But the fact that you don't know this, and you are one of the top conservatives speaking on any issue, it's a little annoying and frustrating, because this is basic 101 level information about the far left, and you guys should really know more than you do. You should just be better at this. And I've tried to help you, and none of you listen to me. And so now I literally have trained an audience that is smarter than one of the top conservative analysts in the entire fucking country. Don't tell me we don't know more than the Trump administration. Don't tell me we don't know more than the Republican Party. Don't tell me we don't know more than the fucking FBI. This community knows more about the far left than literally any other group out there that is not on the left. And I would match our knowledge against anyone.
Compared to slavery to abolishing the police, ICE, and prisons. So they're trying to make equivalences here and saying that, well, if support abolishing slavery because that's really bad, we also must then support abolishing the police. I thought they were done with this rhetoric of defunding the police, but they're even going further with the union saying we shouldn't have police at all. We shouldn't have prisons at all. People should just be able to run the streets, break crimes, commit crimes, break the law, and hurt people. And I thought that was nuts. And they took it a step.
It is nuts, Corey. Hey guys, can we have a discussion for a second? Listen, I've been streaming for about an hour now, and I can't help but notice there are no super chats and no channel memberships. Now, the thing of it is I don't want to beg, plead, cajole for you guys for money. I really, really don't. But I am 100% funded by people like you. I cannot do these streams if no one is willing to fund them. So because I have just demonstrated that my work has trained an audience that knows more than any conservative influencer in the country knows about this particular question, can people pay some class dues? You guys want to reward this effort? Because I'm being serious, guys. I will stop the stream if no one wants to do this. I really will. I will just stop the stream and I will go do something else until Spy Stream when I will be talking to the people supporting my work. Do people want to send in some channel memberships? Do people want to send in some super chats? Do you guys want to fund this? Do you guys want to keep the stream going? No offense, but when I'm doing a class day, there is a price of admission. If you can afford to throw in a $5 channel membership, please do so. Invite more people to join the channel. If you can afford to throw in 5 channel memberships, 10 channel memberships, become a channel member. Really appreciate that, bro. W's, welcome to the cult. B-Ren, not sure exactly how to say your name, but welcome to the cult, bro. We got a $5 super chat from Joel. You've been educating and entertaining me for years. Lots of love. Really do appreciate that, Joel. We got Julian with a channel membership. W's to Julie. We got Average Person in with 5 channel memberships. W's to Average Person. That brings us up to 7 so far. Guys, can we get to 20? Maybe. Can we get to 20, though? Can we get to 20, though? We've got almost 200 people watching us on YouTube. Can we just get to 20? We got W's for Duchess with a channel membership. We got W for Dragon Tail with a super chat. Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. We got one more from Duchess. We got Origami. W's Origami. We're up to 9. Can we get to 20, guys? Can we get to 20 channel memberships before I keep going? Can we do that? I don't feel like I'm asking too much for the fascist fund. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Evelina over on Rumble. We got Rumble channel memberships. 5 channel memberships donated over on Rumble. We got Dietzen with a channel membership. Thank you, Derpy Dan, for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Really do appreciate it. We're up to 15, guys. 15. We need 5 more to keep the stream going. We got one from Coco. W Coco. Thank you so much for that gifted channel membership. We need 4 more. 4 more. I'm not going to keep going until we hit a goal or a milestone. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. We're thanking Station for being a member of the channel for 2 months. Really appreciate the support, bro. We got one from Photo Girl. I'm going to make sure I'm actually getting all these. One from Photo Girl. Can we get 3 more, please? Oh no! You gave 5 channel memberships yesterday and never popped up on the stream? That's really fucking weird. I really appreciate that. I'm so sorry that didn't pop up. We got Sheikah Lago. Thank you. And let's all give W's to Dragon Tail too. He gave 5 channel memberships yesterday and apparently it didn't even work because he's in China. So we'll give him some W's as well. We got Sheikah Lago in there. And I bet you... Thank you, Station. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate that. Really, really appreciate the 20, bro. Really appreciate it. Guys, we're still 2 channel memberships shy here. We got almost 200 people watching right now, and 2 of you can't give a single channel membership. We're waiting. I can sit here and start doing my nails. I really can. My nail polish is getting chipped. I can start just doing my nails and waiting. We got Charles in. We got Charles. I know. Listen, I'm not asking you to give if you can't afford to give. I'm asking the people who can give respectfully to step up to the plate and respectfully got us to 20. W's to Charles. W's to respectfully. Guys, I really appreciate you helping me meet that milestone goal. We got just one more. Ben sending in one via super chat. Thank you, Ben. Okay. Now we can continue. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know what? I think I'm good with the MILFs. I think we can go directly to the communism now. I think I got all I needed from the MILFs. 1 in the chat if you think we got what we needed from the MILFs and we're done now. 2 in the chat if you want to keep watching the MILFs. Yeah, he's not Chinese. He's a very good-looking white male that's very built, and he does a lot of bodybuilder stuff, and he has really good tattoo. Okay. Yep. We're done with the mills. Time for the communism. Time for the communism. Guys, we are listening to a group of communists. Yo, just a drummer on Rumble just gifted another 5 channel memberships. Thank you, Just a Drummer. Really appreciate it, bro. Really appreciate the channel memberships. Awesome. Awesome. Guys, as a reminder, if you just got gifted a channel membership, you can join us for Spy Stream later tonight. Spy Stream is when we go inside a live leftist organizing call and we watch it live. Later tonight, we are watching a lecture on queer history at a major university. So if you think the universities aren't teaching this gender shit anymore, I will literally beam us into a university lecture later where they're going to be doing a whole lecture about queer history. So you're going to be able to see it directly for yourself. And that's going to be awesome. And so that's a little bit later on tonight. You can find the information for that. I will show you exactly how you do it before we get started so people know. If you're a new channel member, go to my channel homepage, click on the post tab. When you are logged in under your channel membership account, the very first post there will be the link to Spy Stream. Okay, that's how you have to find it. If you're on Rumble, just stay put on Rumble and you will get access to it. If you're on Substack, you can find it on the Substack in that article I posted today. If you're on one of the other platforms, just look at whatever platform you're a supporter on. You can find the link there. W's, Anthony. Thank you so much for that channel membership, bro. Really appreciate that. So, guys, if you just got gifted a channel membership, please utilize it. Come join us for Spy Stream. There is nothing like seeing the left live. There's nothing like it. That's why we're at the tip of the spear, okay? Let's get into the communism. We are now listening to a group of communists talk about May Day. Let's get this party started.
We're communist, and I'm joined by our AI program today only, no Chaos Queen, but we are here with James Harris.
You know, I suspect she might make a special appearance at the end of the episode, so...
Yeah, she's doing chaos things and working with some local progressive candidates that we have had on the show. But we have a special guest joining us today, friend of the show, holds the record for most amount of times on the show currently, our token labor representative, Jay Gibbs. Welcome back to Resistance Radio.
Always good to be here with the Resistance Radio crew. I got to keep coming back so I can hold on to the title.
Yes, yeah, I know. We got to have like a belt or something that we could we can pass around.
Technically, he only holds that title because Pete joined the show.
Right, true.
You know what? And technically correct is the best kind of correct.
You're right. But you know, Jay,
we had a question over on Rumble from Doctor. Am I missing something? Are we saying Moms for Liberty are endorsing the May Day walkouts? No, what we're saying is Moms for Liberty is a grifting organization that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about and are literally years behind us in our understanding of the far left, and they're misinforming their audience because of it. So that's a waste of the $10 million that went into funding Moms for Liberty because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about and they're just a grifting organization. And we just proved that the people who watch my content on a regular basis are smarter literally than them. That's what we're talking about.
A very, very special holiday coming up that
You're welcome.
kind of flies under the radar of a lot of the everyday members of the working class, and that is May Day on May 1st. So we have some events planned in our local municipality, the Green Bay area. If you're watching this
Wisconsin
at the time of release before May Day, you know, I would definitely check local organizations, local labor unions, that type of thing, because there is bound to be, you know, different actions and the like occurring. But Jay, I guess, yeah, we wanted to, before we get into reacting to, you know, some local news and national news, we wanted to kind of learn a little bit more about May Day and the history of May Day and why it's important to celebrate May Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an important day, and it's crazy because May Day started because of the U.S., because of the Haymarket Affair, which was a demonstration by workers in Chicago in 1886. They were fighting for an 8-hour workday. They had organized just about the entire city, and police and other members of the state showed up to violently crack down on them.
Sick.
At some point, an incendiary device was thrown and people died due to the police reacting violently to that. And then the very next day, actually, in just outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we had what's called the Bayview Massacre, which was a continuation of that protest from Chicago. It had moved to the workers of the Milwaukee area, and they were also fighting for the 8-hour workday. They had gotten every other shop and plant in the city shut down, and they're making their way to Bayview. And that is when the governor sent out the National Guard, told them not to let the workers through, and they took that to mean shoot. So 7 people ended up shot and killed due to the actions of the Wisconsin National Guard at that time. And then a few years later, during the Second International, which was a meeting of various communist parties and influential leaders of the socialist movement across the world, it was brought up that as workers, we should commemorate the sacrifices made prior at Chicago and Milwaukee, really focus on the Chicago aspect there. And that was where May Day, or International Workers' Day, was born. A few years later, in 1892, you had some more reserved conservative unions that were a little more worried about leftist leanings create our Labor Day that we know in September. Started in 1892, and then it was signed into law in 1894, and it was specifically picked to avoid being lumped in with other socialist workers movements.
So Labor Day is like the lib version of May Day.
It's like bougie representation for workers' rights.
Yeah,
it's the ruling class approved day for us workers to be celebrated.
The celebration of the worker.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of plays into something that I mention quite frequently. And we're going to talk, this pertains to a couple of the topics we're going to talk about. So many things that we take advantage of on our day-to-day lives, like an 8-hour workday, like the weekend. People died for that. And, a lot of people do not realize that.
Or I like to point out the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. If you enjoy being able to walk out of your place of business that you work at, and you don't have the doors locked from the outside with chains, you could think workers dying in a fire.
Yeah.
Also think it's really interesting because a lot of times, and I'm prone to the same shit myself. Sometimes it's really easy to get all doomery. Like, this is the worst it's ever been.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, Trump sucks all the ass, but this is not the worst it's been. Like, you had multiple government officials killing unarmed civilians, and that was just a Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, on top of their working conditions and, child labor laws.
And at the time, it was illegal. You couldn't, there was no legal standard for a company to even recognize a union. So you could organize, you could try to get a contract, but the employer had zero responsibility to engage with you.
Wasn't it? I think it was Rockefeller Steel. Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the big steel companies, there was a wildcat strike, and they hired the Pinkertons, literally private detectives, to roll past and machine gun the encampment from a train.
Yep, I believe that was Rockefeller. But the Pinkertons, they made a name for themselves as union busters. They were up for hire anytime that workers needed to be, cracked down on by the ruling class.
They could literally just hire private people.
I was gonna say Pinkertons were actually involved at Blair Mountain as well.
Yeah.
So you could just hire private people to go murder a whole shitload of your workers, and that was just considered fine.
Yep. And now today they just pay the cops overtime.
Right. and I think it also goes without saying too, to stress that there was also police involved. Like, it wasn't just, private, paramilitary-esque forces. Like, police were involved with that as well.
Well, and the state was so indebted to, in many cases, these robber barons, that they were just an extension of their, wealthy person's enforcement.
And this is the $1 million question here. There's the robber barons in the Gilded Age. Are we in a second Gilded Age right now.
Absolutely. 110% is. I think Jeff Bezos makes the Rockefeller family
Doing
look
like every
amateurs.
glasses change because I can't decide which ones I want to wear.
The disparity in wealth is worse in America today than
Costume
it was
change
in France at the time of the Revolution.
I gotta go look this up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one thing too that I'm thinking about, Jay, the first time we had you on the show, you were talking about how you know, when they were legally declaring rights for unionizing and collective bargaining, the ruling class basically made it so that it basically any sector except the ones that they, you know, benefited from personally, like you know, butlers and housemaids and that type of thing. And
I want a housemaid.
you know, I think we're still seeing some remedy, or not remedy, we're still seeing some implications of that today, you know, because we have a lot of like gig work and stuff like that. And I think people feel very disconnected from the labor movement when they're working in gig work and that type of thing.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Oh, go ahead, James.
Okay, I've looked it up. Bezos is not richer. Depends on how you measure it. Adjusted for inflation, Rockefeller was around $400 billion. So adjusted for inflation, Bezos is not richer than Rockefeller. Musk is, but the other way to look at it is percentage of GDP, right? So at his peak, Rockefeller's wealth was 2 to 3% of the US GDP. And right now, Elon Musk's net worth is 1.6% of the US GDP, which is fucking nuts.
That's why I think it's always so dumb whenever they look at like the health of our economy and they bring up GDP or like other countries and they're like, "Well, look at the GDP." It's like, bro, like like half of that or like a tenth of that is literally from the billionaires. So like
that's just one billionaire.
What is so important about celebrating May Day? And, you know, even if you're not going to an actual action, right? Like just standing in solidarity, not working that day, going on strike. Why is that something that leftists should participate in?
Yeah. And I think it's important because it's us. Like it's your neighbors, it's your friends, you know, it's your family members that are out there. You might not be in a union, but I am very certain that somebody you know is. And it's, you know, solidarity. Solidarity is a verb, not just a noun. You have to take that action. I do want to really quick touch back. You had talked about gig work and kind of the holdovers from the NLRA. And I agree. It's the sector of work that I organize for my union is like retail. And I feel like that is kind of one of the front lines of the labor movement today. Where, yes, truckers, rail, very important. Your dock workers, extremely important. You know, they make the country move. But I think in our service-based economy, that your retail frontline workers are probably the most vital sector. That if, you know, not the most, of course, like truckers, everything stops. But like, let's say we had 100% solidarity, and every single McDonald's worker walked out of their job. May 1st in the U.S. Like that would ripple things. Like and that's just at one spot.
Starbucks, you know, like any of those,
especially, and that's any of these places where you're being served. And it's not even maybe like a traditional. I work with cashiers a lot. So say somebody at like Target or Walmart, especially. You know, those guys deserve, there should be nothing wrong with being a retail cashier for 20 years. You should be able to retire with dignity. You should be able to have a say in your job. You should be able to go to work and be able to advocate for yourself and not have to face the type of degradation and hostility that a lot of our retail workers see. That's something that we can sometimes get in and bargain for in contracts is having safety standards for customers as well.
That's a good one,
I just wanted to touch on that with the limitations of the NLRA and then how it kind of has bled over into the gig and retail economy today. But yeah, it all ties into, no matter what sector you're in, this Friday, depending on when you're watching this on May 1st, walk out if you can, take time if you have it, and just show your fellow worker that, hey, I see you and I'm standing next to you, because you'll always be able to stand next to and see your neighbor.
We got a super chat from Charles. Gasoline for the cause. Much appreciation. Much love, Karlyn. Thank you, Charles, for that super chat. I appreciate it, bro.
But the people at the top, they're not going to see you put your nose to the grindstone, but your neighbor's going to see you step out.
That's beautifully said, for sure.
I've looked it up. As of late 2025, the top 1% holds around 30% of everything in the United States. The top 10% holds 67%, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Never forget that the party of traditional family values are the same people that created an economy where it requires 3 incomes to raise 1 kid.
That's a fair point, actually.
Like another great union man, Homer Simpson.
And
yes. When the Simpsons first came out, a good union job at the Springfield nuclear power plant was able to sustain that entire family in what looked to be a pretty nice house in a fairly solid neighborhood.
It is funny, and it's another example of people see Mr. Burns, and even like anti-labor people see Mr. Burns, and they're like, this dude's evil. He's a piece of shit. But then they go to work for Mr. Burns every day, and it's like,
well, and they think he's cartoonishly evil. They think he's a caricature. It's like, no, actually, I mean, there's certain CEOs I'd work for less than I'd work for Mr. Burns.
Right.
It's because the stupid thing is that the American working class has way more in common than we realize. Like, your far right and your far left both want a world where a single income can support a family.
Yeah.
For completely different reasons,
Right.
but that is actionable common ground.
We keep coming across presentations with communists who have a better grasp on what on the real far right than conservatives do, guys. They're like, unironically, both the far left and the far right want one income to be able to support a family, just for completely different reasons. It's like every single time I hear a communist say something where they are more hinged into reality on what the far right believes than conservatives and the GOP and all this woke right bullshit, it's like, that's how we know we're truly fucked right there. That's how we know we're actually fucked. These people understand the dissident right more than the GOP does.
Right? But we never seem to act on that common ground,
thank you!
because no matter how bad off somebody is, no matter how severely underpaid, no matter how much they're struggling, we all think of ourselves as temporarily disadvantaged millionaires, and we just need one lucky break and we'll be set. But no, your chances.
People don't think about it. That how many paychecks can you miss before you're out of a house?
Right.
2.
Yeah, right.
And that's sometimes that's 2 more than some people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy.
That's 2 paychecks because I own a house. The only reason I am able, like, let's be honest, the only reason I'm functional at all right now, like, I make just a little under $20 an hour, which is actually not my employer's fault. It's because that's what the county pays for behavioral health. My wife is disabled. She can't work because I have a job. She can't get SSI, and I make just enough that you can't get food stamps. The literal only reason I am a semi-functional appearing adult is because my parents and grandparents were incredibly generous and helped me buy a house, which I split in half and rent half out as a duplex. That is the only fucking way that I keep everything together.
Yeah.
Like, I work 40 hours a week. I should not need to depend on the kindness of others to keep a roof over my head and provide for my family.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. And I think obviously talking about May Day is important. And I think a lot of actually what we were talking about is going to tie in. And then I guess just one more thing, and this is something that we're going to be talking about in our May Day action. And we hope to potentially be live streaming So if you're listening to this and are on strike on Friday and, you know, looking for some entertainment or something, check us out, you know, on Twitch and check out Producer Pete's Twitch. We might have something in store for you there. But Jay, I guess, yeah, how, as kind of a final call to action type of thing, how can people get involved in labor, even if they're not already a part of a union?
Yeah, I mean, just it's as easy as just talking to your work or to your coworkers about your work. Say, hey, you know, what do you like about this job? What don't you like about this job? It's stuff you already talk about at the, you know, the water cooler when you're on lunch. So whether it's the water cooler or at lunch or walking in or out of work, you're already having these conversations with your coworkers about the things you like, the things you don't like. And as you start keeping note of the things that people don't like, look for the things that are in common. Look to see if it's something that if you all came together and talked to the boss about, is it something you could change? And I think you'll be surprised because there's very little at a job that organized workers can't change.
If it seems too intimidating, there are a lot of
wait. Do we have a retard in the chat? Do we have a retard in the chat? Guys, have we spotted a retard in the wild? Excuse me. You know you won't get any real support with communism. LMAO. Hey, Real Coyote, do you think we're communists? Did you wait a whole 5 minutes to subscribe to the channel without reading the description of the channel or the description of the video you're watching on? Did you just come right into the video and you didn't bother to ascertain what was going on or learn anything about the situation you were walking into? Do you think we're communists? This is a yes or no question. You can answer in the chat. Go ahead. We're waiting, bro. Entire stream stopped just for you to coddle your feelings. Do you believe that we are communists? Are you a conservative that's wandered in off the street and you don't have a high enough IQ to understand what's going on? You already knew? What did you already know? What explicitly, I need you, I know this is hard for you guys. Use your words. What did you already know? We're waiting. Entire stream stopped just for you. What is it that you believe you already know? We're waiting. What is it that you already know? This shouldn't be hard. You said you already know it. So if you already know it, what the fuck is it that you already know? Use your words. Come on. Do you speak English? Are you black? Is that the problem? You speak English though, right? Can you use your words and explain to us what you already know? The awkward silence. Yeah. The awkward silence when the retard is confronted. The awkward silence when the retard has to actually think about what they're saying before they say it. We're waiting, bro. Did you run away? Is he still there? Did he run away? Oh, he's still there. He's listening. He's still there. Are you able to write in a complete sentence? You want to come in and tell us off? Are you able to write in a complete sentence and explain to us what you already know? Odds. Okay, Real Coyote, let me make it very simple for you. If you don't answer me in the next 15 seconds, I'm permanently banning you from the channel. We've wasted enough time now. You should be, in theory, capable of formulating a sentence. If you can't do that, we are permanently banning you from the channel for being too low IQ to be here. So, oh. I know you're not spelled correctly, not communist, so I don't know what gave you that idea. I don't know, bro. I don't know what possibly gave us that idea. The fact that you came into the chat and said to me and the other people in the chat, you won't get any support with communism. Bro, do you know the people in the video can't hear you? Do you know the people in the video can't hear you? Lisa Old Granny, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. All right, we're going to continue. Don't say any more retarded shit in the chat, though.
Online about how to unionize. It's not that complicated. Like anybody can.
Most international unions have a toolkit right on their website. So depending on your industry, if you're an electrician, go to IBW. If you are a
this went by super quick,
go to
actually.
UFCW. If you're a
This only 20
auto
minutes.
worker, UAW. They're all going to have a little bit more industry specific ways of organizing. And then, tons of other online resources like through labor notes.
And remember too, if our forefathers could figure it out back in the day of, telegram and horse-drawn carriage, that we can figure it out too.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and you don't have to be the old timey guy, up on a milk crate trying to rally the sweaty, factory workers.
We must go on strike to preserve us.
And you don't need to be a fiery speech maker. It's simple. Just, hey, I like working with you, but I wish I could change this. What about you? And then you just get that from everybody.
If you feel like you're not being treated fairly by your employer, we will have some unionization guides linked in the comments. If you happen to be in Green Bay on May 1st, I will be speaking at a May Day event here. If you see me, come say hi to me and judge whether or not I'm an AI program.
Yes. And
I'll be at that event as well. I'll be sitting on a panel.
All of us, I think, are gonna end up being there. So definitely come say hi to us. And we will. We can also maybe post a link to the event for that in the description as well. But Jay, I know it was a kind of a little short mini episode. We could obviously talk about labor for.
Oh yeah, I could spend hours going on about.
No, for sure. And I look forward to hearing you speak about it.
That's the end of that podcast. That gave us some interesting information, but listen, we can watch some other stuff too. I thought that was a good general overview of how communists see May Day. I do have a whole bunch of other videos pulled up because we do have about an hour before we're going to go into Spy Stream. We can peruse some other content. Do I think TPUSA will try to pull their usual shenanigans? I don't know, man. I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. Maybe. I was talking about what the people in the other stream said, and I know okay, but bro, if you know they can't hear you, then talking to them in the chat isn't gonna change anything. And I'm sure you can understand that. We treat this as a serious exercise. If you're talking to the video as though the video can hear you, that's not going to work, bro. That's just not going to work. Not a good use of energy. Anyway, I didn't ban him. He can stay, but gotta just smarten up a little bit. That's all I'm saying. We are a high IQ channel. We are not a low IQ channel. Okay. I just have a sneaking suspicion. I don't know why. I feel like this video is going to be very cringe. Thank you, Frisch. Thank you, Dr. Kaylee. I know. I'm looking good, huh? Yep. Married, though. Married. Keep it together. Married. But I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. No, bro, you weren't talking. Okay. Now you're going to be silenced. Now you're actually getting put in a timeout, bro. Now you're actually getting put in a timeout because you need to stop talking. You really need to stop talking. Okay. One in the chat. Oh, this is called Special Interview, the International Organizer on Student Walkouts and Repression. One in the chat if you think this is going to be entertaining. Two in the chat if you think this is not going to be entertaining and we should find something else to watch. There's plenty of other stuff. But I don't know. I just have an instinct about this. One in the chat if you think that this is worth looking into because it could probably be entertaining. 2 in the chat if you think we should find something else. More 1s than 2s. We'll give it a try. We're giving it a try. If it sucks, we can watch something else, guys. Not a big deal. Socialist news and okay. Perfect. That's what we want. Socialist news and views. Well, socialists want to abolish all money, so they do. The left literally argues to abolish all money in all banks, so they do. Perhaps you should learn what they actually believe. Oh no, Shaniqua. Oh my god. Is this a real account or are you guys fucking trolling me? Are you guys fucking trolling me? You're chatting in a conservative bullshit talking point from a black lady account named Shaniqua? Are you assholes trolling me? Did Hans just create a new account? I'm actually being serious here. Are you guys fucking trolling me? Shaniqua. What I need you to do, Shaniqua, is go read the Communist Manifesto. Because in the Communist Manifesto, this is even more pathetic then. This is even more pathetic. If you're a white man and you said something this fucking stupid in my chat, that's even more pathetic, and I need to dress you down even more than I was going to dress down the black lady named Shaniqua, okay? Because, listen, man, it's not Shaniqua's fault she was born black. It's not Shaniqua's fault she was born black, okay? So we have to gently bring the low IQ along with us. Not that all black people are low IQ. Many black people are high IQ. We judge people based on the individual here. I'm just saying that this is a fucking retarded question. This is a low IQ question. This is a low IQ question, you stupid white man. This is why white men can't be allowed to do things. White man, you need to go read the Communist Manifesto, because in the Communist Manifesto, it literally says they are allowed to use capitalism to overthrow it. Because they live in capitalism, they have to survive in capitalism, they have to work to overthrow capitalism within the capitalist system, and therefore, ergo, they are allowed to use the tools of capitalism and created by capitalism as long as it is in the service of the communist revolution. Literally says it in the Communist Manifesto, bro. So every time you conservative retards do this stupid fucking excuse me, why are they using an Apple computer created by capitalists if they want to abolish capitalism? They're using the Apple computer because they live in fucking capitalism. They're allowed to use the tools of capitalism in service of the revolution to overthrow the system. And maybe they like Apple better than they like fucking Windows, which is the sensible choice if we're being honest about it. That is why. That is why. His channel's called African Princess. I'm starting to think that Shaniqua is actually a black lady and not a white man. But just know, I am judging Shaniqua significantly more harshly as a white man than I am as a black woman. Black women, listen, black women are nice. They cook good food a lot of the times. And sometimes they just need a little help in understanding things. That's fine. That's fine. Lots of high IQ black women too. I have very high IQ black friends, and they're awesome, and they're fucking rad. Okay, but I'm saying that I'm actually judging Shaniqua more harshly as a white man, allegedly, than as a black woman, because white men really have no fucking excuse. White men want to run everything. White men feel like the poor put upon victims of the world, and then white men can't even do basic fucking research to understand what they're talking about. Perhaps my standards are just a little bit higher for white men than they even have for themselves. I'm just saying, hey, thanks, Dustin, paying class dues worth every penny. I really appreciate the super chat, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you, Focus W's, gifted channel membership. You rock. Thank you. Thank you. Now, you're gonna call yourself white, you act white, okay? What is this? Did we just strike
This
gold?
is a Socialist News and Views special interview.
I'm Nick Shullingford, coming to you from the Urban Cabin Studios in South Minneapolis with this
South Minneapolis
special interview. So on Socialist News and Views, we let folks introduce themselves. Do you want to just tell our audience who you are?
Hello, my name is Addison Linghorst. I'm a socialist activist in Milwaukee. I'm an educator in training up here, but I also led a high school student walkout when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah?
I've kind of been in activist spaces ever since. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you could be here. Yeah, I just recently read an article, Wave of Walkouts, Republican Governors Target Teachers Unions as Students Fight Back Against ICE, which you wrote for the International Organizer Substack. It was published April 9th. So?
Listen. Never stick your dick in crazy. It's a bad idea. You'll always come to regret it. I'm giving you sage advice. Not that I've ever done this, because I've never had a penis, as it turns out, regardless of what the people say on Twitter. Never stick your dick in crazy. Okay?
You know, what did you find out about, as you say in the article, the explosion of walkouts against Trump's immigration policy? And what did you find out about the crackdown since the protests, and where are we at right now?
Yeah, so the walkouts happening across the country really are happening in just about every major city in the US, which is super, super exciting that there's this real like grassroots energy everywhere.
It is. I barely, it's like it's not even barely making the news because there's so much other stuff making the news, but like I do see it like through other ways sometimes, including this article. It's super cool to see that things are happening, and things are happening all over the place. Like actually, I was just saying today, not to interject too much, but I was just saying today that every day I feel like I hear about a new organization that's doing cool things, made up of just a bunch of people doing really hard work, and I'm like, wow, I never even heard of that organization until today. So anyway, yeah, super exciting.
Yeah. And there's so much organizing that we just don't hear about, especially with student walkouts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff doesn't make the news at all.
Mm-hmm.
Half the walkouts in Milwaukee haven't been covered by any news organization, including like the local press. This is stuff that I'm just finding out like because I'm here and because I know some of the people organizing this stuff. But like there's so much that we just don't know about because the news doesn't consider it a priority to report about. Which is why independent journalism is so important, and why like, being active in your communities is so important. But yeah, so because this is like a national grassroots movement with students doing organizing literally everywhere, there's been sort of like a lot of different approaches that have been taken by student activists in various places. And part of that's based on like what resources students have access to. Like a lot of students don't know that they can just like go and talk to the teachers union that represents their district. That's not like instinctive in the way that like some other organizing tactics are very instinctive to students. It certainly wasn't obvious to me when I was organizing a walkout when I was like 18.
I was just going to say the same thing. That wasn't something I was thinking of. Although, I mean, to be honest, I didn't even really think of it that much until you just mentioned it. To be honest, I mean, that they would go and just initiate that themselves, would be certainly possible, but not necessarily what everybody would do. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah. And like that kind of organizing is necessary. But it is sort of instinctive to a lot of student activists to like go and look at past examples of student walkouts, which is why like the student walkout as a tactic is like so powerful and has such deep roots in the US especially. Because we're able to look at all of these past struggles led by people like us. You know, the walkouts that are happening now are inspired by walkouts that happened like 5, 10, 15 years ago. Like there's a walkout that was led at my high school, my former high school, like just this past year, like this semester. And that walkout was like directly inspired by conversations around the walkout that I had led like 5 years ago, and sort of directly came out of conversations with students that I didn't even know back then, like talking about what had happened and like learning some of the lessons from that. I was inspired in 2022 by the walkouts for queer rights in Florida.
You don't say.
And the fallout from the Don't Say Gay law. And those students were directly inspired by the Parkland walkouts.
Right.
So like we've got this like really direct history that actually goes all the way back to like the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s. And
hey, Matthew, they're winning and you are losing. They are winning and you are losing. They are winning. They are winning massively and you are losing. So if they're oh so dumb, what does that say about you?
even beyond that, to like its earliest roots in the labor movement back before like school was mandatory for working class people. So it's got this like really rich history. There's a lot to learn from.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's I was just what you hit on it. It is. It's like
No,
beautiful,
Matthew. Winning is not subjective, you fucking retard. Winning is not subjective. Do you know what winning looks like? Chasing the Trump administration out of multiple American cities with their anti-ICE organizing. Do you even know that they've done that? Do you know what winning looks like? Completely stopping mass deportations and making it so fucking publicly unpopular that Trump literally fired the only person that wanted to do mass deportations, who was Greg Bavino. Greg Bavino was a fucking king, and Trump fired him because it became too publicly unpopular to do mass deportations. The only reason it became publicly unpopular is because these people have been organizing constantly for longer than you have any fucking clue. Do you want to know what winning looks like? Taking over the K through 12 public schools and teaching all your little darlings and queering them in your fucking classes? Do you want to know what winning looks like? Taking over all the fucking labor unions and constantly planning to go on mass general strikes to shut down the economy, which is what they are preparing for on Friday with the big mass general strike that they will be discussing. Do I need to go on, Matt? Do I need to go on? They are winning and you are losing. There is not a single fucking universe in which you are winning, bro. So if they're so fucking dumb, what does that say about you?
Things like keep going. I keep telling people that, like, especially when they're like, feeling down because like a particular action or a particular event maybe it didn't have like the impact you thought it would, or it didn't, some people, it didn't suddenly solve the whole problem, which, I mean, if you've been doing it for a while, it isn't going to, but sometimes when you do something, you feel like it's going to do more than it does immediately. But again, you have to realize that stuff is like, it's like moving out like a ripple, like it's affecting other movements, it's affecting other places, and it's going to like come back to you, like, with the George Floyd uprising in Minneapolis, like talking to other people that are in like Cuba or they're in other places in Latin America or in Europe, and they're seeing like George Floyd murals, or they're
you like my home goods mug for $5?
People did there inspired by the George Floyd uprising, or they're asking like, how were you guys able to do it there, because we're having trouble with this or whatever. So this stuff doesn't end. Like it always is coming back up, and even like you think something is behind you, that doesn't go away. All that like learning is like it's still in there.
They had other
it's
letters
still in
too.
there somewhere. You just gotta tap into it. So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, you're totally fine. Yeah, so as far as what's going on with the crackdown on some of these walkouts, some of this is happening at like the school district administrative level, and some of this is happening at the statewide level. So at like the school administrative level, administrators are under pressure from their bosses at the state to crack down on student protests, to keep students in the classroom, even at the cost of like taking part in real things that are really affecting their communities and everyday lives. So administrators are under a lot of pressure to keep students in the classroom at all costs. And that means that administrators will just, like, if they're under enough pressure, will just suspend like 300 students at a time, which is something that we've seen in various places around the country. Administrators often aren't willing to go that far because once you get a walkout of that size, you're under pressure from the movement.
Right.
And sometimes that can kind of counteract the movement, or sometimes the pressure that admin is under from the movement can counteract the pressure that they're under from the state level and from their supervisors.
Right.
That's the goal. In Virginia, in like a suburb of DC, over the last couple of months, there was a student walkout where over 300 students walked out. And then that week, over 300 students, like those same 300 students got suspended for walking out, and then they walked out again.
Yeah, right.
And that second walkout didn't result in suspensions, as far as I'm aware, as what was reported on. It's like the movement was willing to push past even that setback and push further, which is so exciting and so inspiring to see.
It is. It totally is. And also, like, you know, yeah, I was at something today, and just like when you can actually like deal with an issue that arose like in the moment with the like movement that you have there to like make sure that it gets resolved before you like just that I saw an example of that today, just, you know, anyway, with like somebody getting like singled out in like a group, whatever, for something, and then like the group was kind of like, no, that's not appropriate. Like we gotta fix that first before we even do anything else. So yeah, it's amazing, you know, what a huge movement can do. And I know I have been organized around student walkout stuff for a long time, but I organized around anti-war student walkout stuff, you know, some time back. Actually, it was like just after I got out of high school, actually. And I know then, at least, like they were getting the county, the municipality, whatever, was actually getting like money per like student that was like literally in the thing. So I mean, it does have like an immediate actual like cost to them for students to not be in the school. So I mean, just to make it clear, like, you know, I think sometimes people ask like, well, how are they pressure? Like, what's the pressure? There is like ultimately like there is an economic cost to the potentially to the municipality of the district or whatever. So yeah, so they do have a potential to wield a lot of power. And of course, you know, people in high school, at least a good chunk of them cannot vote in elections, but of course are affected by all this stuff. So again, how are you going to use your voice to, you know, to hold people accountable and this kind of thing, right? So yeah. So where are we, you know, people are still under threat, right? They're still being, I mean, I even saw a video. I mean, this was during one of the walkouts where was that the one where like the police chief or somebody like threw a girl on the ground or something at a walkout? I think that was like on the East Coast a while back. And like, yeah, it's some crazy stuff they've been doing to people because, again, like I said, you know, it is an effective tactic. So that's why they are so, you know, so strongly against it. So
yeah, they're afraid of us because we have power.
Exactly. Is there other stuff people should know about where things are at now, or where
where are you at now?
I think there was something about them backing down a little bit on some stuff. I don't know. Is there any sign that they're I know you mentioned that second walkout was a good tactic. Are there any other tactics we're seeing there, or?
So there's some stuff that I talk about in the article, or
yeah,
there's some stuff that I talk about in the article. It's like
know.
examples of where the movement is going farther and making really positive steps.
Right.
And some examples of setbacks, and some of those kind of overlap. In in California, there was a teacher who was fired within like an hour like opening a gate for students who were walking out, because the students were literally trying to
Good.
jump over the gate and were hurting themselves. And he was like, absolutely not. I will like
Right,
open
exactly.
this gate for you so you
Obviously.
can walk out safely.
Right. As you would
Um,
do if you're a teacher. Yeah.
Exactly. Safety of students comes first, always.
Yeah.
So he was let go,
Maybe
and like within an hour.
maybe the students should not have been jumping over the fence, and maybe if they did jump over the fence and they hurt themselves in jumping over the fence, they would learn themselves a fucking lesson. Yo, independent thought. Welcome to the cult, bro. Welcome. You know, your life is over. You're never going to see the world the same way again, and you're never leaving, but you will have friends during the Marxist revolution, and we appreciate that. We appreciate that. You know, we take what we can get here. We're going to lose. We are heading into a dystopian nightmare. We can see what's coming, but we'll have friends, and that's okay.
That incident. And like his students and his community are fighting for him to be reinstated. There's an organization that has started a job defense campaign alongside student activists and activists within the community. They're organizing more walkouts, including, I think, one this week. Don't quote me on that.
We keep us safe.
Believe
Yep.
also the
We
one on
keep us
May Day,
safe.
which is very exciting.
That is exciting.
The fact that so much of the movement is aligning student walkouts with May Day and with wider community actions on May Day is super, super exciting to have one day where like we are, if this goes right, we are going to see mass action on like a real national level to push back against the Trump regime. It's incredibly exciting. That has a lot of power.
Oh my God. Why do we have so many retards in the chat today? These people are clearly losing. Okay. Then why doesn't the right control K through 12 public schools? Why doesn't the right control higher education? Why doesn't the right control the media? Why doesn't the right control the labor unions? Like literally any labor union. Can you name one fucking labor union that the right controls? Why is the left allowed to organize massive school walkouts where they're shutting down entire states of school? Like there's some states that all the schools in the state are shutting down, bro. Like we are seeing massive school districts shutting down on Friday so that the students can go and protest with the teachers. How exactly is that happening if they're losing? Where have we had mass deportations, Matt? Where have there been mass deportations? Oh God, we have another fucking retard that thinks we're communists? Hang on, bro. We'll get to your level of retardation in a second. Where the fuck are the mass deportations if we're winning and they're losing, and the right is winning and they're losing? Where the fuck are the mass deportations? Bro, I'm giving you, you're superior intellectually? Hey, Matt, what's the left's definition of capitalism? We will ask you one question to find out if you're intellectually superior to us. What is the left's definition of capitalism? Go. Answer in the chat now. Do not say anything else other than answering that question in the chat now. What is the left's definition of capitalism? Go. We're waiting. We're waiting for your superior intellectual abilities to explain it. We're waiting. We're waiting. Yep, the mass deportations in my chat are about to ramp up. You know, I unblocked everyone the other day, and we were bound to get some retards here. We were bound to. Oh, he was timed out. He'll be back in 10 seconds. Okay, Matt, when you are back from your timeout, no one time out the retards, okay? No one time out the retards. Matt, when you're back from your timeout, I need you to explain to us what the left's definition of capitalism is. Bro, I'm very sorry. You're far too stupid to be here. Deported from the channel. I gave you many chances. You don't wanna do it. So you are deported. Hey Matt, what is the left's definition of capitalism? We're waiting. You're back from your timeout, bro. What is the left's definition of capitalism? Go. There is an IQ requirement to be on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an inclusive safe space for conservative retardation. We do not tolerate this bullshit here. You hinge into reality or you get the fuck out. Matt, we are still waiting for your answer. What is the left's definition of capitalism? Everyone in the chat knows the answer, bro. It's you who hasn't answered yet. So we're waiting. If you do not answer in 30 seconds, I will permanently ban you from the chat because you will have failed the IQ test. Do 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 do. Do you guys notice how the people who come here and they think they're smarter than everyone else and they think they know everything? Do you guys notice a pattern that when people come here and they think they know everything, it is so predictable that they actually know fucking nothing? Matt, you have 10 seconds to answer me before I permanently ban you from the chat for not being smart enough to be here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very sorry, Matt. Very sorry. We tried. We waited for you to answer. We cannot delay the stream any longer. Permanently banned from the chat. So sorry, bro. So sorry. Now let's talk about this. Are you talking to the video because you think the video can hear you? Or do you believe we are communists? Let us know, JMC. Let us know. Are you talking to the video like a fucking retard? Or do you believe the people in the chat are communists? You let us know.
Especially when Trump is kind of on the back foot with everything that's been going on, everything that's sort of radiated out of Minneapolis over the last few months.
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting. The
did I miss?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think he's got a lot of stuff that he's dealing with right now for sure. Donald Trump.
It's Mr. Doctor member for 5 months. That's what I missed.
The thing that's really exciting, as you were mentioning, is the power that people have. I was mentioning before about the in the moment doing things and how how much power you actually do have to do things even that aren't just like the goals of what you're doing. If you stick together, I think sticking together and showing solidarity is like a big piece of that. I was also excited to see like some of the workers organizing, like I think like Starbucks workers and stuff like that. When they first started organizing, like the first thing they did was like go on strike as like one of their first actions. Like, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of those places, they've been going around and around for a while. It's not like they've never had a chance to have a conversation with their workers about what's going on. So, I mean, if you get to that point, it makes sense to me to go right out the gate with some serious action. And the same thing here, obviously your neighbors and, people you care about are getting dragged out of their homes. I don't know. Was there anything else you were gonna say on that, or should we?
Yeah,
keep going.
Sure. So one of the things that is sort of dangerous about where the movement.
Old sub, I wasn't even begging people to give channel memberships. 20 channel memberships from old sub. W's in the chat, old sub. Welcome to the 20 new channel members who just benefited from old sub's generosity. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, old sub. We love you. We appreciate you. Can't do it without you, bro. You fucking rock. Thank you.
Is that in most places there's been kind of an artificial wall set up between teachers and teachers unions and student activists. Really, all of us need to be on the same side here if we're going to win. These attacks from the Trump administration are affecting everyone in our community. They are affecting our students, our unions. Like this stuff has a real
come
impact
to Spy Stream
beyond
tonight, guys.
just
Come to Spy
like
Stream.
the immediate and the obvious effects. The right wing has had a long-term project of doing away with teachers' unions and public sector unions.
Oh God, I
and
hope
those unions
so.
are very, very much under threat. In Wisconsin, sort of started with Scott Walker's Act 10, which sort of like whittled down the rights of public sector unions and particularly hit teachers' unions really hard. And then that was followed by very similar legislation across a lot of the country. In Florida, Ron DeSantis is trying to do a lot of that, like same stuff, where he's making it harder for teachers to unionize and to keep their unions,
Right.
and is sort of continuing to whittle away those rights. So in Florida right now, while the teachers' unions are under attack, and specifically are under attack for like allegedly helping student walkouts. I don't know if that's substantiated or
Right.
not. While they're under attack for
they do.
that,
True, they do.
The teachers' union is issuing statements along the lines of like, we don't support the student walkouts. We need students to stay in classrooms. Sort of
Right.
distancing itself from this movement that is like affecting them and their communities and their students.
That's interesting.
And it is
So
putting up this artificial.
So she's pissed off at the teachers unions in Minnesota for saying, "Listen, we don't support shutting down the schools, so you guys can run around and protest." That's very interesting. That is actually the first that I've heard of this. That people in the teachers unions in Minneapolis are pushing back on them.
Under attack for that. The teachers union is issuing statements along the lines of like, we don't support the student walkouts. We need students to stay in classrooms. Sort of
Right.
distancing itself from this movement that is like affecting them and their communities and their students. And it is putting up this artificial wall between them on one side and like their activist students and the rest of their communities who are actively in danger on the other. And it's creating this like artificial like lack of solidarity between like the communities they work for and work alongside and the unions.
Right.
And that's really not what we need right now.
No.
And the movement is so much stronger when we're united. It's so much stronger when we're together. They can't stop all of us.
Right.
And it is really, really important to have organizers in like across multiple sectors in the schools as students and as teachers and in the community. And it's really important for those struggles to link up, or they can just section off like each portion of the movement and sort of like defeat one at a time.
And they do.
And they do.
A lot of times. They find a way to do it one way or another, and then we have to regroup, and then all that. But yeah,
it's really dangerous. What we
Right.
need right now is solidarity.
Solidarity,
Yeah, I agree with
comrade.
you. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm a nurse. I'm not in the nurses union currently. I'm doing some stuff in the community in a consultant role or whatever. But when I was in the union, the biggest thing I was trying to do was like make the connections with the community, like when they were closing hospitals and things like that, trying to link up. These are the hospitals that people have to go to that are in that community. So it seems to me like they would be the obvious, like most immediate allies in place that people would be very interested in that not closing. I'm in Minneapolis. You're in Milwaukee. People have seen what's been going on in Minneapolis for a while. I think with Operation Metro Surge, Trump's Operation Metro Surge, it's taken on definitely a more, at least more hidden or more like latent phase or whatever you want to call it right now. But there's some high profile ones here and there still going on. What else is going on over your way? What do people need to know about Milwaukee, about the city? Anything else that's happening over there right now, as far as building a better future? Building a brighter future.
Yeah, absolutely. one of the most exciting things happening in Milwaukee right now is like, yes, like the student walkouts, but also like the character that those have taken is very different in Milwaukee than it is most places. In Milwaukee, students have
I'm
in or
not sure on it. I mean, no, isn't that an English flag or something like that? Does anyone know what that flag is? Is that like a Scottish flag or something? Well, I'll tell you, Tommy will fucking know. Like, isn't that some sort of like English or Scottish? Welsh. I knew it was one of those fucking England things. I knew it had something to do with it. Thank you. Wales. I was close. You gotta give me credit. I got real close to that. I was like, I know that has something to do with something fucking British.
Organic connection to like activist organizations with real roots in our
Tommy's
community.
name is Tommy.
Wisconsin is home to one of the biggest immigrants' rights organizations outside of the Southwest.
I've
They're called
decided
Voces
he has
de la
to change his
Frontera.
name. It's just the way it is.
They've been doing a lot of really, really exciting work along the lines of immigrants' rights for a very long time. I've been a member for a bit, and I've been doing a lot of organizing work sort of alongside them on and off.
Fantastic.
And yeah, and they have like student organizations within the school.
Tommy's pissed off at me for saying that Scotland is in England.
Like student clubs that students can be a part of as activists advocating for their like school communities and for their wider communities within this already established space. So that structure is really important because it links them up with other activists in their communities and sort of creates those links in a real way that just like aren't accessible for most students.
Right.
I remember being in high school being like a lone activist looking for any connection I could
Right.
possibly find.
Right.
Milwaukee students have it right there in their classrooms, which is so exciting. And students in Milwaukee also have a teachers union that works alongside them in many cases.
They work with the students? Wow.
For a lot of the same issues. And student
the teachers unions in Milwaukee work alongside the students in their activism. The teachers unions in Milwaukee teach the students how to be good little activists. You don't say. You don't say.
Those links in a real way that just like aren't accessible for most students.
Right.
I remember being in high school being like a lone activist looking for any connection I could
Right.
possibly find.
Right.
Milwaukee students have it right there in their classrooms, which is so exciting. And students in Milwaukee also have a teachers union that works alongside them in many cases, and fights alongside them for a lot of the same issues. And student activists work with the teachers union. It's sort of this like two-way relationship, which is like very exciting to see as both like a former activist student and a future teacher.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, and she's a future teacher. And she's a future teacher. You don't say. Hey, thanks, Dustin, for the super chat. Lefties have a manic-like passion for their causes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's all they think about. It's all they do. It's all what all their meetings are about. It's what their entire social system is about. Yes, they do.
That tradition
Yeah.
is super important. Yeah.
So absolutely. So students in Milwaukee are planning a like statewide, Wisconsin-wide student strike, and that's happening later this week. That's on April 24th, which is like I'm very much looking forward to this and seeing this play out and seeing the kind of momentum we're able to build for, and that action is building momentum for May Day.
Nice.
And there are going to be like a ton of May Day actions across the state and across the country. May Day, of course, has this like very militant history that's also like explicitly tied to both the labor movement and the immigrants' rights movement.
Both labor and immigrants. You got it.
Which,
yep.
Yeah,
Shocking.
like May Day this year is going to be really, really, really exciting.
It's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
That's sort of the brief rundown on what's going on in Milwaukee.
That's super exciting. I really appreciate you speaking with me, talking about your article, and of course we're going to link to that article. Encourage everybody to check that out, and obviously support their local walkouts wherever they may be, however they can, whether that's I don't know, getting some snacks out, or making sure the young people have what they need out there, or whatever they're doing. Basically, ask them what they need. They'll probably tell you. They probably have some things they need. Is there anything else you wanted to share before you go?
Let's see. Follow the International Organizer on Substack. Like, we're a very, very, very new publication, but we've been
they're on Substack
trying to put out articles like this, sort of taking in what's happening around the country and around the world, and sort of compiling
Substack.
it, so you're getting analysis from like things that are happening everywhere, sort of in one place, so you can sort of collectively learn the lessons from what's been going on, trying to make predictions about where things are going, and trying to like hopefully kind of point the direction forward for the movement, and give like solid analysis of what can be done to fight back.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like y'all are doing a great job. I've seen a lot of stuff come out. As soon as I get off of this, I'm gonna be like furiously working on my Substack. It's hard enough for me to get out my one Substack little newsletter I get out a month. So I see over at the International Organizer just all this stuff coming out, and I'm like, wow, how are they getting all this stuff out over there? So y'all are doing a lot of good work. Well, I really appreciate the time.
All right.
And I will.
That seems to be the end of that. Guys, if you want to see the International Organizer Substack that they were talking about, they do actually have a whole bunch of stuff here. And of course, all of this stuff gives us insight into the leftist mind and the leftist activist ecosystem. So that's why we try to pay attention to this. That's why we try to know what's going on. If you want to check that out, you can find that. It's internationalorganizer.substack.com. I did put it in the chat so you guys can check that out for yourself. All right. With that said and done, we are heading into SpyStream. SpyStream tonight is a supporter exclusive, and we are going to be going inside a live lecture at a major university that you have all heard the name of, in which they are giving a lecture on far left radical queer history. This might be a little advanced. If you haven't studied queer Marxism with me, this one might be difficult for you to follow along with. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from attending. I think everyone should attend. I think everyone should go, regardless of whether you understand queer Marxism or whether it's very new to you, okay? Because listening to them talk about it is generally the best way to learn it. But like, it might, I'm just warning people going into it. It's going to be a little bit more advanced queer Marxism. So if you have not watched my queer Marxism introductory lecture, which you can find over on the Substack, just go to New to My Work, start here, watch these other two classes, but I'm talking about this one right here, the Introduction to Queer Marxism, the Left's Most Dystopian Ideology. If you haven't watched this, or you don't understand the content of this, where I explain the development and the evolution of queer Marxism and what they actually believe, the SpyStream that we're going to watch might be a little complicated. However, queer Marxism is always fuck off insane. So don't get it twisted. Just because it's going to be more advanced, I fully expect that we're going to see some insane shit tonight, okay? So if you want to join us, there are several ways you can do it. If you are a supporter on the Substack, or you want to become a supporter on the Substack, go to Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com. Go into that article. You will find the link to the stream. If you are on Locals, Patreon, or X, just go to whatever platform you support on, look at my posts on there, and you will see that I have posted the link to the stream. If you have recently become a YouTube channel member, what I need you to do is go to my YouTube channel homepage, and under the post tab, the very first post you will see under your YouTube channel membership account is the link to SpyStream. And if you're on Rumble, I just need you to stay put on the channel. I just need you to stay put. I have to shut down the current stream. I have to start the new stream. It's a clunky process. It's the way it goes. But on Rumble, just stay put and you will get access to SpyStream. Okay? So, the last SpyStream with Judith Butler did not hold back. Nope, that did not hold back. That is what we are doing, guys. SpyStream is going to be getting started in about 15 minutes. So you got a little time for a break. I want to thank everyone who donated to the stream today. Mock Ducks is back. He's back. He left us for a brief moment, and now he has renewed his channel membership. I want to say thank you to everyone who donated channel memberships today. We brought in 52 new members of the channel today. That's pretty fucking awesome. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats. Really appreciate all you guys. I am 100% funded by you. I cannot do this without your support. Thank you for allowing me to do this. And now let's take a break. Go hit the bathroom. Go get some water or something stronger. And we're going to listen to a lecture about queer history. And it's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be awesome. Okay? Going to be awesome. I will see you guys on the other side. Thank you again for an amazing class. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, where we will be watching yet another May Day organizing call to get ready for Friday. Friday's the big day. Take care, guys. And I have to set my outro video because, of course, I am a professional streamer on the internet. Take care, guys. We'll see.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here? 3 months, May 17th. And what brought you here? That's difficult to answer. influence my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for the people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.